Scene where we were talking to the French ambassador who had a weird notion that we would certainly both support this, and then we spontaneously both said no, that's not the idea. So maybe it's the next question, but in terms of coalition, I assume my major group colleagues, local authorities, would agree that we fully support you and say let's keep that separate. And also, of course, our major group is actually the elected local authorities or local governments rather than the local communities, even if it's related, it's not the same thing. So in theory, yeah, I talk. Great.
Yes.
So I know the question is supposed to be first what's already in the text and then later on, but
we have went beyond all boundaries.
Okay. So we were quite happy with how much urban issues and recognition for the importance of local governments was in the original Zero draft, and most of this has made it through the amendments. But we also see quite some room for strengthening some of this. Some of it specific to the urban issues and local government issues, and some of it just to actually make the Zero draft overall stronger. So 4 points in particular I want to mention. The first is on IFSD, or the Institutional Framework for Sustainable Development. We in our major group agree that it's very important to really see the three dimensions, and we don't like to say pillars so much, we prefer to say dimensions to show that they're not separate. And we would like to see more emphasis in the text on the interaction between these three dimensions, and that they need to really be seen together conceptually, but also when we discuss the institutions that we need. We do think that the paragraphs that are currently in the text about strengthening UNEP or upgrading UNEP into a specialized agency or so on are good, but might be stronger still. We do like the inclusion of the support for major group participation, and we always use major groups instead of civil society, since we don't really think that local governments are civil society. We also put some emphasis on the concept of governmental stakeholders, which the local authority major group or precisely local and subnational governments were recognized as governmental stakeholders in the climate conference in Cancun in 2010. So we would like Rio+20 to see this taken up in the text, and we're working on that.
Speak louder, Suzanne.
Okay, about the drilling, sure. I also don't get told so often to speak louder, but we can do that. So the second point on SDGs. We think it would be great to have SDGs. We also think, as many countries are saying, it would be good to have one particular SDG on urban issues, or sustainable cities, or whatever one might want to call this. At the same time, we also think that urban issues are not a sectoral issue. Cities and local governments actually matter to many of the other SDG topics that are being discussed. So by having one urban SDG, we don't want to see the urban dimension excluded from all the other topics. Third point is beyond GDP. There's quite some talk about this. It's not so strongly in the text yet, I think, if I'm aware of the latest status there. So we think that could be strengthened even more to really show that we need to move beyond those pure economic indicators, and governments such as Bhutan, who's trying to measure happiness now, Gross National Happiness Index, we support that. And we also think that that could help in moving towards living within the planetary boundaries, as our colleague from Science has said. And fourth and final is, again, the concept of sustainable development. I've already said that we think the three need to really, really be integrated and seen as one coherent whole. And also within that, culture should be seen as a transversal element that matters to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you.